Kwesi Pratt Jr. Kwesi is a member of the national leadership of the Socialist Forum of Ghana and joins us from Accra, the capital of Ghana. Hi, Kwesi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
The Socialist Forum of Ghana issued a statement on the attempted coup in Venezuela. Tell us about that.
Well, we are expressing full solidarity with the people and government of Venezuela in the face of this aggressive coup attempt from the forces of imperialism, and which is obviously sponsored by centers of reaction across the world. We also applaud the dignity of the Venezuelan armed forces, their commitment to defend the constitution of Venezuela, and so on. And we express our full solidarity with, indeed, President Maduro and the government and people of Venezuela.
That today Pan-African TV went live with teleSUR English signal. How are people on the ground reacting?
As a matter of fact, right now, as we speak, teleSUR English is on Pan-African television, and we are transmitting to 28 countries across the world.
Now, how are people on the ground reacting? What are their thoughts on the current situation in Venezuela?
Well, initially, a lot of people were very, very worried about the situation in Venezuela because it was not clear. I mean, when the coup started at the Air Force Base with Guaido and others, people were very deeply worried about the situation in Caracas. Now, a lot of people know that the coup has failed as a result of the fact that we've been able to show teleSUR live on Pan-African television. And many, many people are relieved that the coup has failed, and that the people of Venezuela are in full control of their destiny, and indeed, they have their government still in place.
Now, what other forms of solidarity have you seen in Africa since destabilization and coup attempts ramped up a few months ago, and what are political parties and movements saying there?
As a matter of fact, I've seen a very good statement issued by the Socialist Party of Zambia, which also affirms its full solidarity to the people and government of Venezuela, and which condemns the imperialist attempt to impose, a puppet regime on Venezuela, and which asserts the right of the Venezuelan people to control their own resources and to exploit these resources for the benefit of their own people. I mean, the reactions are coming in. I expect that there will be a lot of reactions from places like South Africa, from Congo, and so on. But generally, people are relieved that this reactionary coup d'etat has been aborted. I think it's important for you to understand clearly that Africa has suffered tremendously as a result of similar aggressions. In Ghana, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America sponsored a coup against the nationalist leader Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah on February 24, 1966. And we are still living with the consequences of that coup. In fact, most of our industries, about 400 of our industries have collapsed as a result of that coup.
And that's
over the last 30 years.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
Over the last 30 years, our national currency has been devalued by something like 35,000%. More than 1 million workers have lost their jobs and so on as a result of the coup d'etat, which was waged against the Nkrumah government. Of course, we cannot forget the Congo, where, again, the Western powers instigated a coup against the democratically elected government of Patrice Lumumba, where Patrice Lumumba was actually executed and his body was dissolved in acid. It's not just about Africa, it's all over the world. I mean, we can all remember the case of Salvador Allende in Chile, when he was also overthrown in a CIA-sponsored coup, and so on. And the story is the same everywhere. Now in Venezuela, the people are resisting these attempts. They are being successful. We were not so successful in Ghana. We were not successful in the Congo and so on. And we've lost tremendously. And we express solidarity with the Venezuelan people because of our own experiences with such coup d'etats.
And lastly, what are the lessons Venezuela can experience from the left in Africa?
Well, as I said, the independence movement in Africa has suffered very, very serious, losses. We've suffered a lot of reverses and so on. I mean, at independence, we were hoping to build a new Africa which was united politically and economically and socially. We were hoping to build a new Africa which was less dependent on the colonial metropolis. We were hoping to build a new Africa which could exploit its own resources and so on. These coups in Africa have deliberately and consciously thwarted the efforts of our people to build independent national economies. The result is that today, all of our natural resources are still in the hands of multinational corporations from the imperialist countries. The result is that if you take Ghana, for example, today Ghana has only about 3% interest in its gold resources. Ghana has a lot of oil and gas, and we have only about 13.5% interest in our oil and gas. We no longer control our resources. We are no longer able to exploit these resources for the benefit of our people. And the people of Venezuela, the people of South America, ought to wake up to this reality, ought to learn from our example that these coups take us nowhere. They can only take us backward and to regression.
Kwesi, we thank you so much for your time for teleSUR English.
Thank you very much.
We have been speaking with Kwesi Pratt Jr. He is a member of the national leadership of the Socialist Forum of Ghana.